Converting wireframe elements to pixels. Don't. Just stop. Turn back. It's fraught with danger. Stop. It's a trap. Don't do it. All right. All right. So there's a few things to consider when you're going to convert your wireframe to pixels. Types of pixels to use. Dumb or smart pixels. What look do you want? So that comes back to the dumb or smart. How are you going to attach them? How are you going to run them? And why are you doing it? And is it actually worth it? So the type of pixels, bullet style nodes, they are the most common that everyone uses. Most of us use bullet style nodes for everything. My reindeer and sleigh are both using bullet style nodes. They're easy to use, easy to set up, easy to connect. They just work. So that's probably the most popular. You can use the square type nodes. It really depends on what wireframe you're actually going to put this on. If you're going to put it on a wireframe like those, a 3D wireframe, probably the square nodes aren't going to work for you. If you're going to put it on maybe a flat sort of one, maybe the square nodes might work for you. Again, it just depends how you want it to look, what's easy, what's going to work. And of course you can use the flexible strip as well. For my sleigh, the outside of the sleigh at the moment actually has rope light on it. That was a test that I did. The rope light's probably going to come off, and I'm probably going to put flexible strip around the outside of it. It is flat bar that runs on the outside of the frame, so I'm going to probably try and run some flexible strip around that, and still keep the actual bullet nodes for the rest of it. So I will have the flexible strip as well as the actual bullet nodes. So yeah, it'll probably work. It'll probably work well. But yeah, dumb or smart pixels. Now this really comes back to how you want it to look. So with the smart pixels, of course, you can make them any colour you like. You can make the whole thing multicoloured, like you can see on the floor at the moment, or you can have parts of it one colour, parts of it another colour. So if you were doing, say, a Santa, for example, you can make sure that he's got his nice red hat, white fluffy beard, or whatever colour shirt or pants or whatever you want. If, however, you want, just all one colour, then you can go for the dumb pixels, where you only just need to tell it what colour you want the whole thing to be, and then that's what the whole string will be. Saves you with some programming as well, because then you don't have to program every single light. How to attach them? Zip ties. Everyone's best friend is zip ties. It's cheap, it's easy, it's one of the easiest things that you can use. You can pick them up very cheap online. You can pick them up in the thousands online for very cheap. You can go into Bunnings, you can get them from Bunnings, you can get them from JCar, you can get them from lots of different places. They work well. The only problem is that, of course, out in the sun, they do degrade over time. So eventually you're going to have to actually replace your zip ties, probably in 2-3 years' time. Because it's outside during summer, those zip ties will degrade. My sleigh, I've got zip ties on the sleigh. The reindeer, I don't. So my reindeer, I actually have pixel clips. So pixel clips are good. You can get them from Christmas Creations. They do sell these. They work really well if you have... So if you've got a 5mm rod for your frame, it works really, really well. They clip on there quite right. They're designed to go onto 5mm rod, and they clip on, they stay on. You can move them slightly, but they go on there really quite well. If, however, you have a frame that's not 5mm wire, things get a little bit trickier. So what the guys suggested from Christmas Creations is to use some poly tube, just some clear vinyl tube, like dripper tube or something like that. And the idea is that you cut them in half. Now this is going to be a bit hard to see on video. You cut them in half and then slide them over the top of your rod first, and then clip your actual pixel clip onto it. So you can see on that one there that I've done that. The easiest way to cut the vinyl tube is just a pair of really sharp scissors, slide it up the middle, slice the whole thing in half first, then cut it into your little sections. Don't cut it into little sections and then try and snip them. I've got 9 reindeers. For all 9 reindeers, I think I used 3 5-metre rolls of the clear vinyl tube. So, yeah, it's very time-consuming to slice up 15 metres of tube and cut it into little short sections, but I think it's worth it. You've then got the ability to be able to easily move the pixels. So if you put the pixels on and then decide, no, I don't quite like how they are, you can easily take it off, put it back on again. You're not having to cut your zip tie and throw that zip tie in the bin and get another one. Yes, zip ties are cheap, but it's still a pain. These they are more durable. I'm honestly not sure what lifespan they are rated to. I believe that they are UV rated, so they shouldn't degrade over time. And you can see that there's another picture that I included as well of a different type of clip. I found that quite some time ago. So it's designed to actually hold strip as well as pixels, and it's also designed that it can go on flat bar as well as on round bar. It was on one of the websites, but they stopped selling it, and the guy that actually came up with it was selling it on his Facebook page. I can't remember who it was, but yeah. Now, how to run the pixels. My suggestion is follow what's already on there. So someone, probably with more brains than most of us, came up with the idea of the shape and came up with the best way to actually run them for the most efficient use of the lights. So what I did was, when I did the reindeer, I did one to start with. I found where the first light was, I cut the zip tie off, I then attached my pixel to that. I then followed that to the next one, cut the old one off, put a pixel on. I then continued to do that all the way around the whole thing until the whole thing had lights on. That's the easiest way that I found to do it, just because with a 3D wireframe, it's really hard. It's really hard to figure out where to start, where to finish, to try and have it so that it's one continuous run instead of having a lot of joins and wires going off left, right and centre. So the reindeer itself actually had LEDs on it. It just had a big string of LED lights on it. There was a few where it went off in 2 different directions. So I tried as best as I could to follow what was on there first and then go from there. The reindeer that I have, I think I bought them in 2008. So they're actually 10 years old now. There's a few rust spots on the actual wireframe themselves, and you can see that these have gone really quite yellow over time. The other thing is that these were actually 240 volts. So this actually runs off a 240 volt DC. So it's just got a converter that converts AC to DC, and then these are all 240 volts. So that can be quite dangerous if it's outside and accessible for young kids and stuff. If you've got a broken wire or something, you've basically got exposed 240 volts right there. Mine are on my roof, so and it's a tile roof, so it's not too much of an issue. Take a photo of the whole thing before you take the lights off. If you take a photo of it before you take the lights off, then you've got something to reference after you've taken the lights off and you've gone, shit, now how did that go again? It's the same with anything. With a lot of people that do teardowns of new products, like teardowns of phones, laptops, stuff like that, they take a photo, then they take a piece off. They take a photo, they take a piece off. Take a photo, take a piece off. It doesn't cost you anything to take photos these days. You don't have to go into a shop and get your photo roll processed. You can just take photos on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, whatever, just anything. Just take some sort of reference photos as you go. It will really help. Otherwise, just improvise. Just try it, see how it looks. If you don't like it, didn't work, cut it all off, start again. If you use zip ties, cut all the zip ties off, put some new zip ties on. A lot of people got a bag of 1,000 zip ties yesterday. If you use the clips, that's great because you can just reposition the clip. Doesn't matter. You don't have to cut zip ties. The one thing that I did that's wrong with the sleigh, because the sleigh is viewed from one side, I ran the pixels so that they run pointing this way and then pointing this way. They should have all been pointing towards the front, towards the actual audience. So when you actually look at that, when it's on my roof, there's a lot of dark lines because you've got a pixel pointing that way, away from the audience. So if you have them all pointing towards them, they can see the straight lines. Otherwise, you just see very dark. You can slightly see them, but you get a lot of very dark lines. So plug it all up, turn it on, see how it looks. If you don't like it, try again. Next is creating a custom model. This is why I say stop, don't do it. I'm sure that the Grinch will agree with me. This is probably the hardest thing of the whole project, is creating the custom model. If you're using a flat one, it's going to be pretty easy. If you're doing 3D stuff, it's very, very hard. There isn't anything that makes this very easy. Xlights does have an auto mode, but as the Grinch found out, even in auto mode, it's not going to see all the pixels because you're going to have some which are behind others, and when you video it, it's not going to quite see all of them correctly. So you're going to end up with having to do some manual editing after you actually do it.
I found auto mode just wouldn't even work. You end up having to do it manually and
click on each and every single light. Yep. Vixen, the current version of Vixen, is only manual. There is no auto mode. I believe that they're working on improving that. Adsky might be able to give us some more. Yeah. Yeah. So they're working on making custom models easier in Vixen, but any custom model in Vixen is manual all the way. There is no auto mode. The easiest, I'm not going to go into in-depth about how to actually make a custom model. There's plenty of videos up for Xlights people, and there's only 2 of us here that actually use Vixen. So,
no matter how you look at it, if you've got a 3D feature like that, it's going to be a problem regardless. Because unless you've got just one viewing angle, you're always going to have issues with somebody over there, somebody over the other side of your property looking at it. They're going to get a different view.
That's right. You're not going to get that same. You're not going to get the look that you want. So if you create the custom model, you put it in there, you put it in, make sure it's in the spot that you want it. You take your photo of your house from the angle that you want everyone to look at it from, right? So that way any effect you put on there is going to be shown on the computer the way you want it to look. If you then stand in your front yard and step 3 feet that way, it's going to look completely different to when you step 3 feet that way. So you're not always, with the custom models, you're not always going to get the desired effect with a 3D model.
Having said that, 3D models are on the to-do list for hits and probably for X-lights.
Yes.
But it's not a trivial thing to do. So.
And it's the same with people with a corner property as well. So if you've got a corner house like Rob does, having lights on the front and lights around the side, there is no easy way to actually do that in either of the software programs. So once they actually add that sort of feature where you can sort of maybe spin your house in there and take like a photo here and take a photo there, or use a 360-degree camera and walk and sort of record video to then put in to the actual software, 3D models, corner houses are always going to be a tricky thing to do. Is it worth it? This is something you need to decide for yourself. There's no right or wrong answer to this. My reindeer, like I said, I purchased those over 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. Each reindeer cost nearly $100 each. Because I bought 9 of them, they were trying to get rid of all of the ones that they had. They were an old model or they just didn't want to carry them or something. He had 9 left. I said, will you do me a deal if I buy all 9? He said, certainly. So I'm like, excellent. Got them for $860 for all 9, 10 years ago. The sleigh, would I buy that sleigh again? No. No, I would not. I bought that from China. There is no one in Australia that I could find that actually makes a 3D sleigh. It cost me a lot of money, a lot of heartache, a lot of hassle, a lot of issues. So, yeah, buyer beware when buying from China, especially big models like that. Yeah, so is it worth it? Again, it's up to you.